Let's take you to Beirut, where Hamas spokesman Osama Hamdan is speaking.
As our people cannot find anything to feed their children, the situation is dire, and they are using livestock as they are trying to bake from livestock. This is a declared starvation war against more than 700,000 Palestinians in this region. The whole world should remember always that this war has started with a clear decision that emanated from the government of the Israeli occupation forces, Netanyahu, and the defense minister, Gallen, when they decided last October 9 to stop and not allow any water or fuel to access Gaza. This is a war crime, and the world did not do anything about it or to put an end to it. Even after the International Court of Justice has declared that this is a war crime or intentional war crime against the people in Gaza Strip. The situation is escalating, the situation is dire, and the whole world is watching every day as our children and our women are screaming and suffering in the north. And even after many people died because of hunger, now the situation is really urgent. The willingness of the Israeli occupation forces to let our people die out of hunger with an intent to commit a war crime, this is threatening the lives of more than 10,000 Palestinians who could die. As our people are waiting for the international community and the United Nations with all its agencies to take the concrete steps immediately in order to let all the aids enter the strip and to put an end to the besiege and to end these massacres. We are surprised with the decision of FAO in order to stop all the food aids to northern Gaza after 3 days of trying or attempts to let some very small aids to get into Gaza, as this humanitarian crisis is deepening every day in this region. We call on FAO and all the UN agencies, including UNRWA, not to surrender to the decision of the enemy and all its decisions to impose a war crime and to resume their activities and operations in northern Gaza and to take concrete steps and measures in order to rescue our people and offer some relief in order to avoid the hunger that is now threatening the lives of our people, and to take responsibility. Our national duty also is imposing on us in order to take concrete measures and to put an end to the besiege and to convene. And according to the urgent summit that took place last month, they need to take concrete measures immediately in order to put an end to this war and to avoid hunger in northern Gaza. We also send a message to all the governments, to people and international institutions across the world who are refusing the ongoing besiege on Gaza to take moves and to act swiftly in order to put an end to the actions and crimes of the Israeli occupation forces and to allow all the food and aids assistance to access the strip of Gaza by land and sea. We also send a message to our brothers on the official level and to all the people from all the countries where the assistance trucks are being sent to the occupier. We send a message so that all those aid trucks should be suspended until the besiege on Gaza is ended. And all the merchants that are dealing with, and businesses that are dealing with Israel, we tell them that this trade and this business, this is those profits are stained with blood of Palestinians. Do you accept this? Do you accept to have unlawful profits? Second, as the schemes and plans against Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque continue, and all the raids and daily crimes in West Bank and in Al-Ayyash Bank, the Israeli occupation forces continue its war against Al-Aqsa Mosque and are continuing to take measures to restrict and prevent Palestinians from accessing the mosque as Ramadan approach. Those settlers, extremist settlers who are taking those measures, is a religious war and a war against our religion. And those measures are against our mosque, as those extremists continue to commit those crimes against Al-Aqsa Mosque and all the people who would like to access the mosque. We confirm that Al-Aqsa Mosque was purely Muslim and will continue to be so. There will be no sovereignty and there will be no control from the occupier, regardless their schemes and regardless their power. Our people and our nation will continue to defend the mosque with all the means until it is completely freed from the hands of the occupier. We call our people in Palestine, in Jerusalem, and in the West Bank to refuse those decisions and to reject those decisions and any other similar decisions, and also to continue to protect Al-Aqsa, the blessed Aqsa, against all those crimes and to block all those decisions and schemes that are aimed against the Al-Aqsa. Anything that could touch the freedom of worship in Al-Aqsa will never be not held accountable, regardless the prices and the sacrifices. We renew our message to our nation that defending Al-Aqsa Mosque is defending the pride and the dignity of our nation, and also is defending the holy sites and the mosque of the Prophet and all the holy sites and it is also defending all the Arab nations. And if we hesitate in defending Al-Aqsa Mosque or to pay the prices in order to protect Al-Aqsa, will have only one meaning, which is not being able to defend our pride and our dignity and our holy sites. Third, regarding the hostages swap, we would like to confirm that the government of Netanyahu think that prolonging the war will help them not to be held accountable is still not accepting the fair propositions and the fair demands of Hamas and the different Palestinian factions, including to stop the aggression and to let all the displaced people to go back to their homes and to lift the siege in order to reconstruct everything that was destructed by the occupation forces. We have tried to deal with them reasonably and based on our priorities, including to put an end to the war against people in Gaza and to put an end to their humanitarian suffering, and that all the displaced can go back to their homes, and also to lift the siege and to start reconstructing the Strip. We have been positive and we adopted a positive stances, including to put an end to the war against people in Gaza and to put an end to the suffering that was imposed by the Israeli occupation forces, and also the right of displaced people to go back to their homes in northern Gaza and in all the different areas of Gaza, and also to allow the assistance to access Gaza and to start immediately the construction of Gaza. Netanyahu should be held responsible. And he also instructed the delegation with 4 main points, including not to stop the war, not to retrieve from the Strip, not to allow displaced to go back to the northern Gaza, and not to have any concrete deal for hostages swap. The personal interests of Netanyahu, who is backed with the extremist settlers, those goals are against all the stances that are being put on the table. This requires from international community and all the concerned countries to review the situation in an objective way, as the government of Netanyahu insists in continuing the war in Gaza against our people, not caring of killing more prisoners that are with the resistance. As they continue to bomb, they will never stop by any initiatives. This requires clear and firm stances and practical measures against the occupier that should put an end to this war and to also meet the requirements and the aspirations of our people, meaning putting an end to the occupation on our land. We confirm once again that this army failed to achieve their goals, including to eliminate the resistance or to bring back or release the hostages, will not be able to achieve those goals in any steps or any phase of this war, and that the resistance, the Palestinian resistance, including Al-Aqsa brigades, will continue to face this army until they eliminate them completely. Fourth, regarding the report of the High Commissioner, High Envoy of the United Nations regarding what is being committed against the women and children in Gaza. In the report that was issued regarding human rights, the High Commissioner Office issued a report on 11 February that confirmed that women and girls in Palestine are being violated systematically by the Israeli forces since the start of the attacks on October 7 in Gaza and West Bank. The report mentioned several of those violations, including the violations and the persecution and the killing, even if people do raise white flags. And also they violated several women and girls, including prisoners that were treated inhumanely, that was defined by the report as women and girls being deprived from food, medicine, and being kept in cages under the rain without food. One of those other forms of this violation was a sexual violation, including stripping people from their clothes. And the report also confirmed that there were some rape cases and rape threats, and also taking photos, humiliating photos of women and posting them on internet, including kidnapping of children and girls, such as kidnapping of a baby girl, and also separating parents from their children. And we still do not know where some children are. They are still missing. We are calling for an international independent investigation that should start immediately in order to investigate and inquire in those issues and violations, and to hold the occupation responsible in accordance with the law of Rome. We also send a message to the whole world regarding some lies that were promoted by Netanyahu and were repeated by Blinken and Biden and different officials of the U.S. government since October 7. And regarding the crimes of October 7, we have one question: where are all those institutions now when it comes to the Palestinians? Or the lives of Palestinians are not important? Or they don't care about a report that was issued by a UN office and they continue to just believe the lies that was promoted by Netanyahu and the occupation forces.
A war of starvation against 700,000 Palestinians in this region. The words there of Osama Hamdan, the spokesperson for Hamas. He went on to reference the violation of the rights of women and girls in Gaza, sexual violence and rapes. This after United Nations experts on Monday released a call for an investigation into what they've documented as rapes and violation against women and girls in Gaza.